and I'm gonna tell you why. It's like when, okay, I'd attribute most women to being like celebrities at their peak or their uprise, right? When they're on their uprise, they're selling out the crypto stadium. They selling out, they on tour. People paying thousands of dollars to see them. Then on a decline, when nobody's playing their music and no paparazzi ain't following them. Now they performing at the local like senior citizens, situation, or like some knockoff high school, right? And then and only then do they appreciate their career and their talent, and they appreciate what now is important in life, But before, it didn't matter because they were selling out arenas. Like, I hate that narrative, man. It's like, why is it that it takes so long? And then I'm also saying to this point, and I hope I'm not contradicting my initial point, I don't think women are like that, in my opinion. I think women always like the Russell Wilson. I think what happens, because we're talking about our community has this attraction to caricatures. We have attraction to like boom, bow, bam. Because the reality is, when you look at most married people, they're not married to people that got plugs and a bunch of tattoos and all that. The dude ain't an ex-gangster. He didn't slang. He didn't do none of that. He was normal. He went to school. He graduated. He got a job. He worked at the plant. That's typical. However, somehow, some way, in our community, we have this story behind how, well, girl, he gotta just do it for me. Then when you ask the heifer, what does he do for you? She can't even explain it. That's how stupid it is, because it's not like quantifiable. That's a girl. Women always want the dependable dude. When she 18, 22, 25. I need women to be honest about that I'm not mature enough to grow up and understand. So yeah, I go through a conversion. Like, I'm a declining artist now. I sell out high schools. I'm no longer the headliner. I'll land.
To be fair,
No, the difference is they want the stable guy, right? But when do they want him? I don't believe they want him when they're 18. I don't believe they want him when they're still out here with their girlfriends. I don't believe they want him when they have so many DMs in their messages on IG. I don't believe they want the good guy when the rich guys are hitting on them. I'm telling you right now, the good average guys, because that's what we're talking about, right? There is no woman who's going to choose an average guy when she has 10 Drakes. I'm not saying every woman is hit on by Drake. I'm just giving an example. No woman is going to choose Boogie when 10 Drakes are hitting on her. I don't care how much Drake doesn't care about her, but the fact that she's going to sit in his private jet, she would never choose me over Drake. Now, eventually, when she gets old and realizes that, you know what, maybe Drake just wants to use me. He's just, he has so many women. I'm so jealous. Hey, Boogie, it's been a while. What are you up to? And Boogie's going to be like, hey, listen, I ain't interested anymore. I mean, not all Boogies are going to say that. I mean, you never know. Maybe Isaac may want to take care of her, because remember, sometimes they come with kids from the likes of Drake. So maybe Isaac G may be the one to want to be a stepfather after that. But hey,
here though, you're right. Okay.
I don't think it is.
I think it is the need to, one, it's the need to like satisfy what everybody else likes, right? So like, my man got to look this way so I can gain the approval of like the people that are around, my friends or whatever. So yes, it's what's popular. But deep down, yes, we always wanted the Russell Wilson. We always wanted them to treat us right. Unfortunately, the men that like gain the approval of your peers are not those men that treat you like that. So you're not wrong. Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Yeah. No, you're definitely not wrong. So
I'll tell you why I think
I
you're
agree
wrong.
with you there.
I'll tell you why I think you're wrong, True, right? I've been to several high schools, right? I've been to a really bad white high school in the inner city. I've been to a decent school in the suburbs, right? I've been to both of them. And in both of those schools, right, the popular guys are never just the guys who are just intelligent, right? The guys, that all the girls want. They want that guy that peaks early, the one with the six pack, the one that's cool, charismatic. It don't matter where you are. You know, he doesn't have to have tattoos and stuff like that.
The
Even though the
football
ones
player,
who often have the tattoos and is willing to take risk early,
the tall
it's
guy.
attractive to women, and I get it. It makes perfect sense why it would be attractive. There's a masculinity to it,
It's a human.
but I don't buy that the women wanted the Russell Wilson early on. I don't buy that at all. Some of them do, right? Because a lot of women understand when they're average, right? Even though we like to say they don't, but a lot of women do understand when they're average. And even though they might be like, oh, look at that guy, he's so attractive, but I ain't, you know, he don't want no girl like me. A lot of them understand that. They like, he don't want no girl like me, and they end up with average guys like in their high school in their hometown, and they end up living their life, and they're not worried about future and all those type of guys. But the girls who are the upper echelon inside of the school, they're dating all of the popular, the attractive guys, the athletes. Like they're getting who they want, right? The athlete, those guys get to pick who they want. And if they gave an average girl attention, she'd be like, "Oh my God, you like me?" Like, yeah, they would. Yeah.
I think you missed the
Nah, because now back in the day, yeah, average women knew they were average, and they knew they didn't qualify for Chris Brown. They knew they didn't qualify for Drake. But now they got $1,000 to pay for Chris Brown's what is it called, meet and greet. The moment she takes a photo, do you guys think the moment a woman pays $1,000 to go take a photo with Chris Brown, you think she's ever gonna think, you know what, I took a photo with Chris Brown, now I'm gonna go get married to an average guy? No. In their minds, they believe I got to touch Chris Brown, he got to take a photo with me, so I qualify for that type of guy. Oh my, even if they paid to actually go see him, even if they paid to take a photo with him, in their mind, they believe now I'm at the level of Chris Brown. That's the guy I should be with just because they paid to take a photo with him. So right now in 2025, average women don't want average men. Actually, even below average women don't want average men. So it's changed.
part where I said, I know amongst each other, we're talking about predominantly our community. I utilize our community, for example, that in my opinion, because I've been in several different exchanges, multitude of cultures, multitude of different demographics. I personally believe, and Bo even admitted this, most women want the Russell. I'm speaking from, okay, I don't think our community understands that there's a lot of us that can't get girls that are actually quality, that are good women, that come from good freaking families. So we depict that value is, ooh, that's not getting women. Like having them like gawk at you, having them like chat about you. No, because there's girls that men that are the future can't touch. And I don't think guys understand that in our community, because the way we interact with each other on a relational perspective is not the norm. That's just not normal. Like there's protection. There's some people you can't get to because their family is strong. Mm-hmm. And I get what you're saying, Mont, that there is an attraction, a peak level of what girls, young females, may find interesting. But if we're doing this correctly, most of the girls also, if they're being raised correctly and protected correctly, understand that that's not permissible. I wouldn't even entertain it. It wouldn't go nowhere.
I want you to give me the percentage of women who you think are raised correctly, right, with extremely strong fathers who are controlling who they would allow them to date and who they won't allow them to date. What percentage do you think across all America?
I would say it's about 55-45.
You think 55% of the women in America, the men are so strong in that family and they have such a grasp on that family that
that's not
my girl can't bring home who I don't want her to bring home?
We talking about America that is heavily dominated by people who don't look like us, right?
White people, all of that.
Yeah, 55-45, easy.
Nah, not anymore. Maybe 20 years ago. Because even women who have two parent households, usually they out here in the streets as well, right? They out here doing exactly because they are friends with women, with girls who came from single parent households, right? And remember, birds of the same feathers, they're gonna do the same shit. They're gonna flock together, right? So if they're hanging out majority of the time with girls who came from single parent households, with girls who listen to Cardi B and Megan Stallion, guess what? They're gonna do the same things they do. Now, if you told me that women who come from two parent households are usually friends with each other and they never associate with women who come from single parent households, I would agree that they probably are not going to be doing some summer girl, hot girl summer BS and getting their cheeks clapped out here.
That
I would argue it's less than 20% of fathers who have that type of control that's going to control who their daughter is bringing home.
I agree.
I'll tell you why, because even when I bring up the concept of how relationships are supposed to be built, most people that I've seen on these panels don't even understand that you don't get married without the assistance of the family. We still talk about relationship like it's just us. We talk about it like I ain't having a conversation with your father or your mother or your grandfather, because in most times that we meet each other getting together, they are putting together our relationship and assisting.
Yeah.
That's why people get houses and weddings and honeymoons. How many people you know got married and actually went on a honeymoon? Not to Vegas, not to Oklahoma, but like to Greece. How many people do you know?
I don't know a ton of people.
I'm sure, because in our community, we look at relationships like high school, and that's not most people. The average wedding in America is $35,000, $40,000. Most people make that in a year. So how is that possible? Statistically, most people who are getting married spend $35,000, $40,000, and the average income in our community is $35,000, $40,000, $50,000. So that's why I think it's more prominent than we want to give it credit for. We isolate ourselves a lot because we think we are the standard, or we're not.
I think it's the opposite of what you're saying. I think when you talk about this, I think you're operating as if the majority of people in America are these well-off people who are doing well and have these tight-knit families and have trust where everything is in order. And I think that's the minority still. Like, I think even I think there's a lot of white people. No, they say more white people on food stamps than black people. Sure. Like, there are a lot of white dysfunctional families. And even when I went to a suburban school, right? Most of that suburban school, 75% of it was just blue collar people, blue collar white people who they lived in a small community, but at the same time, like they just were regular people. I don't know. It wasn't like a rich high school. It was just a suburban high school. And most of those families, if their daughter brought home a guy, those people were very they were very understanding. You know, like a lot of these kids get strung out on drugs and they kind of go through this little phase and then they kind of adjust, but they're not as strict as we think they are, where their kids aren't fucking on people they don't want them to fuck on, and they're not doing drugs they don't want them to use, and they're not drinking and sneaking out and doing all these extra things. Like they having a fun.
I think you're interjecting. Go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah, I was gonna co-sign what mine's saying, because I think we might look at our like the hypersexualized, hyper machismo version of what we are and say that that's just isolated to our culture. But if you go to the white culture, the American Pie white boys is the same version. It's a white version of the black man who go get it, the gangster, the rogue, the preacher, and it's like one other. That archetype across culture works. So you would get the cool white boys who go be the heartthrob for all these white girls. What's Buddy the Fonz? You know what I'm saying? They not. It's not just Andy Cleaver and the most straight-laced white guy is gonna always win because he has a career in the future and all those eventually. But until they get older, the same way kind of with us, and cool and attraction ain't really the key aspect. All these communities, the Yakuza, like all type of different communities have that same aspect of men who gonna successfully be able to attract a multitude of women.
I think overall across the board, the people who are still married to this day, like let's say the people who got married like 10, 15 years ago, that family structure is not as strong as it used to be 30 years ago, right? That's why I said even the people who come from two-parent households, anybody who comes from a two-parent household who's not older than 40 years old is probably going to be listening to hip hop, is going to be influenced by social media to some extent, is going to be influenced by the Megan Stallions or the Lil Waynes of this world, is going to be influenced by feminism for the girls, right? So even if they come from two-parent households, the chances are higher that they were not taught what marriage means. So for me, I believe that people who are still married today, who have been married 15 years plus in this day 2020-2025, could be the last, strongest marriages we're ever gonna have. Because usually these days now, the average marriage lasts 7 years. 7 years. So if people are getting married today, you best believe by 2032, there's a high chance they will be getting divorced within 7 years, maybe even less, right? Depending how old they are. If they're older, it may take longer. But if they're older, that tells me they should have been married a long time ago. So maybe they're on their second, third marriage. Either way, that's even a higher chance of getting divorced. So we're all fucked up, man. The days of long-lasting marriages are gone. So if you're still looking out here to get married, I mean, I wish you luck. I'm telling you. Actually, this is what I would say. If you are a man in 2025, you're 30 years, you're 30 years and older, and you're still hoping to find a woman to get married to, I have a higher chance of becoming a billionaire than you finding a woman who's going to stay with you for the rest of your life. I'm going to say that one more time, and I'm going to trigger people. If you are a man in America, 30 years or older, and you're not married, you're looking for a woman to get married to for the rest of your life, you're hoping to find the one, like you all like to say, I have a higher chance of becoming a billionaire than you finding a woman you're going to stay with for the rest of your life. If you disagree, put it in the chat. If you disagree with me, put it in the chat. I'm telling you right now, I have a higher chance of becoming a billionaire because all I need is, I don't know, 2 lottery tickets, 2 Powerballs, and I'm good. But for you to find a woman who's going to stay with you for the rest of your life, I'm not saying getting married. That's easy. I'm talking about she's going to stay with you for the rest of your life. You're not going to divorce her. She's never going to divorce you. The chances of that happening are slim to none. And last time I checked on Slim, he was on life support yesterday in the hospital. So good luck.